Check, 1, 2. Alright, it's Sunday, October 29th. We have month end here, and we're going to do a quick review of what happened last week and what I'm watching for the week to come. So, to get into this, let's just show you a daily chart here. Okay, so naked daily chart. Got a nice little head and shoulders dump, and then flip zone. Oops, I have drawings hidden, sorry. But yeah, that flip zone I just drew, so definitely price getting respected. To get into this, the blue dot is where we started last week, and attempted to push up a little, small wick on the 24th, and pretty much went down the entire week. If we want a better view, here's the weekly candle. So last week, open, small push up, and you could say this is a flip zone. Prior support just turned into resistance, and we puked for the majority of the week. To drill into this, let me pull this up for you. So this is 4 hour candles, weekly profile. So this is Sunday Globex open. So we open, push down, and sellers were just smacking us up towards 300, 275, and pretty much after Tuesday evening, we had a straight trend down pretty much for the rest of the week. So I'll go over this chart real quick. I did think this was interesting. These are weekly profiles, 4 hour. I created this channel when we only had this and this to go off of. We did not have this yet, so we only had one touch on the bottom, and I was kind of skeptical about it. And it ended up holding up. And then actually, if you see, when we returned back to it, let me drill down to a 30-minute. When we came back to it, it was respected. Didn't want to get into it. Once we got in, acted as resistance, couldn't get out of it, and even to the point where the bottom was holding, and we just lost that. So I know that you guys have heard me say I've kept this channel up as well as this trend line just to see if we get a retest, but we only got a 50% retest on this. And as you can see so this is the week before last week, we couldn't even pop out of it. This is last week, this is the high. So it was not a good week on top of that. So not looking good on that smaller of a time frame. And I forgot to mention this in the last week's video. One key thing I've been showing each week is that I've been watching this. So these are monthly profiles on 2 hour candles. So this is this month of October, which don't look too good, especially the past few weeks. And so we got September here. But I've been watching this flip zone where it was previous resistance from December of last year, and we held above. And when this happened, I said that we failed to accept below it yet, because I don't count this as price accepting below. We put in the nice lower high and ripped back up. But right here is what scared me, was that we failed to break into this low volume. See, I was searching for a reclaim here to reclaim this move, but we couldn't get into it, as you can see. And now we have definitely accepted below this flip zone. So yeah, what's that, 43, let's round up, 43.50. Yeah, so that's strong seller area there. So just wanted to point that out. Just want to show you guys the naked weekly chart, just so you can get an idea. Here's where your MAs are. We had this cross a couple weeks ago on the weekly 920 weekly MA, gunning towards that weekly 200 I've been talking about, which it's going up. It was closer to 4,000 even before, but I could see us going to 4,000 or at least 4100, 4050, but I expect to see strong buyers there. And really fast, I've explained this in other videos. This is a 3+ year volume by price, and if you were to separate each curve into its own, so you could say here's one curve. Here, let me do this in a different color, sorry. A neutral color. Got one curve, two curve, 3 curve, and I'm just gonna call that excess right there. But if you follow price that we went in there, so right here, we moved up through this curve, had some struggle in between, right here, finally broke up into it. Where did we start to wick? Right at this peak. And then what happened? We put in a top, started to go down, reached the bottom of this curve right here, and then what happened? We bounced, put in a lower high, and right here, and then continued to go lower, losing this, and now we're in this curve. And if you start out, I'm gonna move this over to here, so just pretend. So we started here. Once we entered this curve, went down, popped up at about the mid, tried to get into this curve and just could not once again, and continued lower. And this low volume node, it was supposed to be very hard to get into in theory, and we plowed right into it. I'll show the chart in a minute, but we were at extremely key support levels, and we just ripped through it 2 days in a row. And so yeah, now we're in this curve, which with auction market theory, if we're right here, the bottom of the curve, say it's right here, 3920. I like to round up, so 3900, either 3900 or 4000. I would not be surprised if we bounce off there. But so yeah, I want to throw that in there because it's been interesting how this has played out. I'm pretty sure on my weekly reviews I've been showing updates starting since we were going up, if not at least once we started going down. So I'm glad you guys get to see how this works. Maybe you guys will be able to leverage this into your trading, but this is just a 3-year volume by price data. So, and then so on the weekly, I already pointed out, okay, we had a trend line break, pink trend line, and this was support, you could say. This week rejected off of it into a flip. This was the key zone right here, key pivot. Without this, that was the last key pivot, and this weekly candle closed out of it, and so that tells me we accepted below it. So I was gonna talk about what I'm looking to see, but right now I'm just gonna do the review. So notice, so this is the POC on 2 years of volume, point of control, where the most volume, pink line, point of control, where the most volume's been traded. We were getting absorbed on it 1, 2, low a day, many days, and once we lost that, same idea. We got one curve and we got another curve. We lost this curve, and look where we're at now, right here if this was its own volume by price, this would be the point of control, the point with the most volume. So we're at the next highest volume node, and then here you can see the next pivot zone below it. Once again, this is a daily chart, but and then when I was showing on the monthly, I was looking for this reclaim, and we could just not get over it. These are weekly volume profiles, so this is last week, week before, and week before that. We couldn't get into it, and This right here is all the volume from this balance that you see in this square, and this is the point of control with the most volume. So I just have that marked right here, and as you can see last week, straight down. So if you want to go over 6 weeks ago, give or take, see we melted down, left extremely low volume and poor structure, created a range, could not break, and then just straight down since. And so I'm gonna keep this up, and we will retake that someday, but it's a matter of when. You know, the market can go sideways for a long time. I mean, if you think about it, if you were to just draw a zone from here to here, from the low to right there, the market's been going in a range since 2020. It has been in a $1,337 point range over 1,012 days. So 1,012 days, 36% range, 1,300 points. What's that? 5,300 ticks. So not cool when you can see that, but you know, one thing I am very happy to see is, I've mentioned this on one video, which I wish I harped on it more, is the average daily range. We're at 65 points. As you can see, last year in 2022, we were all the way up to 100 average as a high, and we really didn't get below 64. And we were seeing 140 point days like it was nothing almost every day. And then once 2023 came, it really slowed down. See, we got on the right, we have a 62 point range. So that was about the low of last year's average 14 to 18 day range. I think I just switched it to 18 day range average. Last year's low was this year's high, but now we're finally, as you can see, breaking above that. So that's great to see. I mean, right here the ATR was almost near 70, so it's great to see that. Not only is the average daily range getting higher, but I'm starting to notice each certain days ranges being higher than they've been, which we usually would see 30-40 in the past few months. I'm starting to see 70. I'm starting to see above the ATR, and I rarely saw that for half of this year at least. So, and you know, as a scalper, when you have less points in a day to trade off of, that gives you less to work with. But to the other side, when you have an 8-point range day compared to, say, a 30-point range, you can have wider stops and play bigger, the setups bigger in a different way, but that all just comes down to your style. But so let me see here. This is just a TPO profile. Balance composites. We lost this key composite. This is all the volume from September 20th, and where the most volume is at 42.65. That's where the point of control is. It was up here last week, and price was about right here, I think. So that told me we had a lot of trapped buyers potentially, and we did continue lower. So then these are just session profiles, Black's RTH. So this was Sunday Globex when we opened. As you can see, tried to push up, barely any volume, tried to push up, barely any volume. And then, yeah, that was it. Just make sure there's nothing else. So key flip zone on the daily. MA's going down. But yeah, so that was about last week. I did say on last week's video to watch the low 200s to the downside because of this key pivot. And I thought we would start to hold towards the top of the zone once we entered. You know, a zone is weak when get to the bottom fast. Like, if it's a good zone, the first time entering, you should, like, here's good. The first time entering, you shouldn't go far into it. But the fact that the second time entering on the daily, we just pierced right through it, that does not give me confidence that that was a good zone. So when I said to the downside that 4200s, give or take, must hold that pivot, and to the upside, I would like to see a reclaim of the downward move we had from the prior week, which we did not. We only went down, obviously. But so on watch, you know, we have for the daily, we have our 9MA at 4230, 20 at we'll round up 4300, 200 MA at 4333. So on the daily to the upside, just from this, I would love to see. Well, first we need to get the 9MA back, which would be a key flip level. This was support, and now it's probably going to be resistance. We have point of control, high volume node that we're not in because we're in this one. So this will be resistance for sure. But as far as slightly longer term bearish bullish, we need to get this to daily 200 MA. Otherwise, you know, medium to longer term investors will not be attracted to this market. And now the weekly, we're gunning for that 200 MA at 4070. I do not see that being out of the picture or impossible. I'm not biased towards it where I go into my session thinking, all right, we're going for 4,000 today, but it's 1,000% doable. But just as much as this is doable, us to get here, we could easily just have a bunch of people wrapped up short now and squeeze right back up. That's just how the market is. You never know. But so yeah, so off the daily, I was saying to the upside, we must get to 250. I'm rounding up 300 and then 350. Weekly, and then below 40, 50 and 4,000. Okay. 4,000 again, 40, 50. I like rounding up to psych numbers because, I mean, I don't feel like I shouldn't have to explain that. But, yeah, really, those are the levels that I want to watch going into next week. We still haven't found a bid. We're in free fall, so I'm still waiting for the buyers to step in and stop this market from free falling. So there's that, and then let me pull up the data for you guys. So next week, I think it was 4 days we have high impact. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Monday they're giving us a break on high impact. Tuesday, Halloween, we have consumer confidence. Wednesday we have a lot. JOLTS, ISM manufacturing, PMI, FOMC statement, interest rate decision. So yeah, we have FOMC on Wednesday. And that will be interesting because, you know, the treasury bonds are just dumping because they keep raising the rates, and definitely will be interested to see when they start tapering. But so yeah, Thursday initial jobless claims, and then Friday non-farm payroll, hourly earning average, unemployment rate, SP Global PMI, ISM manufacturing PMI, and there is that. I do just want to point this out too. I know not a lot of people watch this, but fear and greed index not looking the best. Lots of fear in the market. Last week I believe we were about here, so yeah, popped up and went lower, and I'll go into the VIX some more, but lots of fear in the market. So the VIX, A couple weeks ago, we kept wicking, and I was saying I do not want to see us get above that. This weekly candle closing with the body pretty much above it. I don't like to see that. So VIX is currently at 2120. Bull case, it must not go any higher. If VIX goes above 22, definitely we'll see some meltdown. And then yeah, this pivot right here at 2307, I must hold for bear case. But let's look at SPY, just because I like looking at the weekly candles, compare them to the ES. So SPY could still have a little bit of way to go. I'll find a bottom at here. The daily, yeah. See, none of these are convincing me that the market's found a bid yet, aka a bottom. But let's look at QQQ. Fell out of that balance we were in since June. And so once we broke out, went back in and just fell out. Inside day on the Qs. Weekly just looks nasty. CL, let's check this out. Okay. So love to see that wick. Different broker. I would like to see higher volume on this wick, because on this one, look at all that volume. But let's check the daily. Yeah, I would expect to see a 90 test again, or at least get close to it. If we fail 90, then I will start to be concerned. But here's IWM, just for people. I don't watch it too much. Maybe I should start, but weekly, daily, and alright guys, just wanted to keep it short. So if you guys have any other tickers you like, or any other constructive criticism, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Hope everyone has a great Sunday, great Halloween, and a awesome trading week. Thank you.